Well, good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening. Whew, this is Pastor D, Dunamis D here on Black and Married with Kids. And I am so excited to be with you. I am elated because anytime I have struggles to basically deliver, speak, do what I am supposed to do, and I have obstacles, I actually know that this is the platform that I'm supposed to be on. So here I am live right here on Black and Married with Kids, and I'm just so honored. I'm honored. And before I even get started into our topic tonight, I wanted to definitely give a shout out and a thank you to Lamar and Ronnie Tyler for this opportunity, because I don't take anything for granted. Kindness is a commodity, and it's definitely a rarity nowadays. So for anyone, particularly a Black man and a woman as powerful as they are and on purpose as they are, to say, hey D, you know what, you can have this platform to speak as a spiritual life and relationship coach, that means they believe in what I'm doing and saying. So I'm thanking them once again. Typically you see my daughter on here, Ariel Fuller, but I am here tonight and I'll be with you for the next few weeks because I am the founder of Dunamis Women Enterprise, and we have a group, Mighty Christian Women, and we're doing some phenomenal things as we live a life of purpose to guide, to mentor, to coach from a spiritual perspective, that we, particularly as women, may experience the healing power of God that only He can do, because we are precious in His sight. So this topic tonight that we have, how to discover my purpose as a woman, not the wife, as a woman, not the wife, is very, very empathic for me. It's very, very dear to my heart, because anything that I do, I seem to be a walking billboard. I live a life of transparency because I don't mind sharing. I don't mind sharing my wounds. I don't mind sharing my obstacles. I don't mind sharing my trials. I don't mind sharing even my triumphs and the things that I've overcome and conquered, because that's how we learn. It's more to life than just a textbook or something that you write down. Life is about sharing your story, that everyone and anyone who can appreciate your journey, they can take some things and they can take some nuggets and apply it to their life. So for me, discovering my purpose, I have been a wife, and matter of fact, I'm still a wife. Can you believe it or not? A wife is going to be a wife, no matter if she's married or not. And married to me is sometimes just having a legal formality that makes people feel like they are really, really married or they're bound together. But really, really, marriage is from the heart, and nobody can change my heart. Nobody can change what I believe in my heart. So as a woman, I'm just honored to even be a wife. And even when I was a wife to a particular man, I took that with great joy. I took it with great pleasure. I take it with great humility, because he didn't have to choose me. You know what I'm saying? But he did. And guess what? At that time, I chose him. However, life takes you through journeys. Life takes you through courses that you would never know what turns are going to come ahead. You don't never know how things are going to wind back around. You never know. You think you're just going straight, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. But realistically, you may end up A, F, G, Z, W, V, whatever. But regardless of how it may go in your life, the key is being on purpose. So no matter what has transpired in my life, matter of fact, not only did I stay on purpose, but even as I was married, it helped me discover my purpose. It helped me discover my purpose as a woman. And that's why I'm very empathic about that. Now, it didn't feel good. I ain't gonna sit up here and tell you no lie. It did not feel good. I had to go through some things. And I was wondering at that point, man, why am I going through this? But realistically, it worked out for my good, and it worked out for my purpose, which is why I'm doing what I'm doing now. I coach women. I coach married women. I coach married women that are unmarried. I coach women that are been divorced. I coach women of all walks of life, young and old. Why? Because being a woman is a developmental process that we have to go through internally, and oftentimes we have gone into other aspects of life, or we start fulfilling other roles in life, such as motherhood or wifehood or motherhood or both. And before you know it, we as the woman don't really understand who we are. We don't really understand our greatness. We don't really understand our purpose. And then we end up going through formalities. And then when you go through formalities, you end up being in the same place, and things can become mundane. Things can become boring. You're going to have a lot of challenges in your marriage. You're going to have a lot of challenges in your life. You're going to have a lot of challenges in your relationship. And unfortunately, a lot of things lead to divorce. But I am here for you as a woman, because there's one thing for you as a married woman. I want to empower you that you may be able to live an effective life with your husband that's so full of joy, so full of purpose, so full of intent, because everything hinges on purpose. Now, I want to talk about me and talk about this journey that I had to go on to discover, and I hope that it empowers you, that you may understand, because I like the saying that some of these old wise women have once told me, and I have a tendency to now understand it. They used to say, baby, I ain't new here, but I grew here. And I used to wonder all the time what they talking about. I ain't new here, but I grew here. Well, they had the stripes on their backs. They had to learn some life lessons. They had to go through some things in order for wisdom to be upon them to understand some things. So you just don't get wisdom just to be getting it because you went to school or you went to church or you read a book or you know how to run your business or run your company. Wisdom literally means, and for a woman, in Proverbs, it refers to wisdom as sheep. So I'm going to keep it with that right now. So for a woman, she ended up going through some things in life to learn how to be a wise woman. And that means she's skillful. She knows how to maneuver. She knows how to bring things about in a skillful way that really no one really knows what is taking place. But she will find herself, her life, her family, her marriage in a whole nother place, in a great place, because she has become skillful. So that's what the old women was talking about when they said, baby, I ain't new here, but I grew here. So I adopted a lot of those lessons. I took a lot of that wisdom, but I had to apply it to my own life. And I had to listen. I had to submit to them. And I pray that that's what you will do tonight, because I hope that this that I'm going to give you, as I have applied it to my life, as I have conquered so many obstacles, as I have endured a whole lot of trials and challenges, as I have continued to live life effectively to the best of my ability, and experience so much peace at this young, tender age of 54, soon to be 55. I just love it. I love it. But in spite of it all, I still discovered my womanhood. And the more I discovered my womanhood, I said, D, you're not just a wife because you're married. You're a wife because that's just who you are. You carry all the attributes and the love and the genuineness, which is why I can't give it to anybody just now. I have to have that special kind of real awesome man who can appreciate the woman that I am. So for you, woman, purpose must be defined. I want to really admonish you. I really want to challenge you, because I did it and I don't want you to do it. And I didn't know that I did it. I lost a lot of the woman that I did not even know in my marriage and in playing and being a wife. I really didn't know that, because we as women, we want to please. And that's what you should do when you're in any type of relationship. Matter of fact, the way that we are formulated, even as people, particularly as a young lady, is to please. Think about it. You grow up, you got to please your parents, go to school, you please the teachers, do what they say, policies and procedures, you got to please them. Maybe during that course of life, you may find that young man or that you like, and he like you. And then guess what? You're trying to please him. Many of us gave up our bodies too soon, had sexual intercourse, trying to please. Okay. Then you go to church. Yeah. You're trying to please not only God, but you're trying to please the pastor, so you're trying to please. You go to work. Guess what? You got to please your boss. So now we get married and we fall right into that thing of people pleasing. Okay. And women, we could easily fall into people pleasing, and we end up losing ourselves. And you look around, then you got your children. You're trying to please them. You got to please them. You got to please them as babies to keep them from crying. What do you want? What do you need? I'm trying to please you to shut you up, and it's just a cycle that's just going on and on and on and on. And before you know it, you, the woman, the powerful woman, the dunamis woman that you are, you're lost in the shuffle. You know, hey Dion, I see you there. I just saw you, Cece. I see you. For you all who just came on, I am Dunamis D. I'm spiritual life and relationship coach, and I'm excited to be here with you. I'm the founder of Dunamis Woman Enterprise, and we have our private group there where we're just doing a whole lot of things, sisters empowering each other in Mighty Christian Women Group. And once again, I want to thank Ronnie and Lamar for this opportunity to be on this platform with Black and Married with Kids. And we're talking about how to discover my purpose as a woman and not just the wife and not the wife. So I'm talking about that because I know what it is to do that, but I also know what it is to discover that. So as long as I have come through so much abuse emotionally and had to come through some things traditionally wise, break through some barriers of my own self, break down some noemas, come out of some ways that I was raised and trained, I had to discover who Devetta was. Now, I was a wife and I was losing myself steadily, going backwards, thinking I was going forward, not pleased with myself, but yet I was in it, wondering what was wrong with me. I was emotionally dead, yet the kids was fine, yet they were doing everything, yet they was beautiful, yet the house was adorned, yet the house was wonderful. But all those things did not matter if I did not become to the place of understanding myself as a woman. Now, the woman can never ever be dismissed or separated from some man, which is typically the man in her life. So with that, if I don't know if I'm whole, and if I don't know how to be healed, and if I don't know who I am, guess what? He's going to be confused too, because we were taken out of man. They need us to be whole. They just don't need the wife, you all. They need the woman. Do you know the first time that wife was spoken in the Bible? It was spoken in Genesis 2:24 and 25, when God had made man, and man came out of that deep sleep, and he looked at the woman and he called her woman, and he said, "This is now bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh." Now, I know we quote that at the altar. I know we quote that at the wedding ceremony, but I promise you, we don't have no idea what we're saying, but yet it's true. Now, maybe the next post, I will give you a teaching on that, because that is very huge. However, he did not call her his wife. He said, "I called her woman." He saw himself. Okay. Now, but he also went and said, and continued to say, which is in verse 25 of chapter 2, for this cause shall I leave my father and my mother, and I shall cleave to my wife. Now, he didn't go through before no judge. He didn't go before have no wedding ceremony. He just saw the purpose. He saw the intent. He saw the cause. And he went and said, she's not just my woman, but she's my wife. Now, if you really look that up, which I have, and I study it constantly, you all, because I'm a spiritual life and relationship coach, woman and wife means the same thing. It means, according to the Hebrew, ish. Okay. So in other words, a woman and a wife, they're all one and the same. It just is the only difference between the woman and the wife, which is really no difference. When she becomes that wife, that means there's the cause that they're living for. There's the purpose that they're living for. They're on a mission, and she has now the authority to be able to fulfill that as his wife, yet she's still a woman. That's why he had to leave father and mother, which was a man and a woman, and now they're building their own purpose. They're building their own dynasty. They're building their own legacy, because only that is the woman who can occupy that position as a wife, and besides her, there are no other. There is none other. So if the woman doesn't understand her purpose, then the wife is going to become depleted. I'm telling you what I know. The wife is going to become drained. The wife is going to become just going through the motions. The wife is going to be this. The man going to have to beg for sex. They're going to get frustrated with one another. They're going to have a whole lot of bills. They're going to just be paying them. They're going to be doing things out of formality. But deep down within, she's not fulfilled. Now, I'm just telling the truth. Not because I read it, but because I dissect the word of God. I strive to live it, but I also lived it unknowingly. And God had to pull me out that I may go through a journey and a process, particularly of healing, emotional healing, that the woman who was trying to please everybody had to learn how to first please Christ and then please myself, which is a symbiotic relationship. And then everybody else was the beneficiary. So what are you saying, Devetta? Your husband is the beneficiary of your love for Christ and your love for yourself. Most women end up loving everybody. The husband, the kids, the business, the job. I don't even know where Christ comes in down on the bottom on the totem pole, but the order is all messed up. And what I'm saying, woman, I want you to become empowered. You, just because you're married don't mean you got to stop understanding your purpose as a woman. Just because you're married don't mean that woman still doesn't have needs, and the man can't fulfill that before you can fulfill it within purpose. Your purpose for the marriage is because of the purpose you was created for. The purpose of the marriage is the purpose of why you were created, to complement him, to respect him, to bring life in every aspect and domain where you go, that nothing will ever be the same when you come into the picture. That's just how powerful you are. That's just how beautiful you are on the inside. But if you're depleted and you never took that time, then you won't know, and things will just be going through one motion after the next, after the next. And let me tell you something, ladies. I counsel and coach, I can't even tell you how many women over a course of 2 decades, almost 3. And one common denominator I find with all of them is when I ask them the question, who are you as a woman? I promise you, 99.9% of them, out of their mouth, they say, I'm a wife, I'm a mother, I'm a whatever their profession is. And they give me all these roles and responsibilities. But when I ask them to critically think about who the woman is, they get perplexed. They say, D, that's a good question. And don't let me ask them about them being a dunamis woman. They be like, what? That's a whole nother session. That's a whole nother thing. But I begin to challenge them from the deep places within their heart, the deep places within their soul. And that's why when we become available again, living with ourselves, Cynthia, how are you? Divorce, a woman in waiting, that's the sacred time that God would have for you to discover who you are as a woman. I challenge you, not only as a woman, but the purpose that you were created for. How can God bring you who you truly require if you don't know what you desire? And I'm not talking about tangible things. I ain't talking about a 6'4", 2-legged man, 3-legged man. I ain't talking about that. I'm talking about from inside, the purpose of your birth, the purpose of your creation. So when you all come together, even if you may be married now, that you will come to a whole nother place in your life, a whole nother place in your relationship, that you may live effectively with intent. You know what? I'm reminded of the passage of scripture that Apostle Paul stated, eyes have not seen in 2 Corinthians, ears have not heard, neither has it entered into your heart. Come on now, the things that God has already prepared for you. So I don't even care what you see right now. You haven't seen nothing yet. I don't care what you hear right now. You haven't seen anything yet. I don't care what you think right now. You haven't seen anything yet. Because every day you wake up, it's on purpose. And there's nothing more powerful than the woman, WWOMAN, that God created, that came straight from the heart of the man, not a man, the man that God has assigned for your life. And married right now, you are with the man. So you have to discover what more is in you. When you enhance your purpose and know your purpose and discover your purpose, that man is going to say, who are you? You think he love you. You ain't seen nothing yet. He going to fall deeper and deeper in love, or he may do like man did get away and go to someone shallow. He may do what mine did, leave and go with someone who wasn't on purpose. You all see, choice is going to be made either way. So that's why I know to be on purpose is about peace. To be on purpose is about effective living. To be on purpose is about what God has ordained for your life and not man. So I want you all to join me in a movement, you all, in a movement for that I have been given as an assignment to empower women, to coach women, and to build an army of women, particularly who understand their purpose. And our first purpose is to understand who we are so we may be able to pray effectively for our men. There's nothing that I don't do that I don't include our men in, because we cannot act like we're independent when God made us interdependent. And I'm not just talking about your husband. If you pray for somebody else's husband, do you know God will send you one more than what you've even realized or asked for? That's why our mantra scripture is Ephesians 3:20. Now unto him who will do exceedingly and abundantly above all that you could ever ask or think, according to the power. That's that dunamis that worketh on the inside of you. Women, our men need us, especially our black men. They need us. I was just writing an article today, how powerful they are, how wonderful they are, how mega-minded they are. But they don't need no shallow woman. They need a woman, and they need a wife who understands her purpose, who understands her greatness and the power she possesses. So what I'm doing for all women who are not a part of my Understanding Your Greatness coaching program and are not a part of my discipleship training, which is DW12, I am literally giving and spending time where you will have a free consultation with me, because you might not understand all I'm talking about. Matter of fact, I know you don't understand what I'm talking about. And I know that there's more to you than you realize. That's why you need a coach. Okay. I always give the analogy of Michael Jordan and Phil Jackson, because I love Phil Jackson as a coach. You know what I'm saying? He was my coach. Now, I understand all basketball, but Michael Jordan, as much as he knew how to play the game, he was skillful in his own right. But while he was out there doing his thing, Phil Jackson was watching his opponents. He was watching the other team. He was watching the moves. He was watching the floor. He was watching the court. That's what he was doing. And he was able to give insight, and he was giving instructions, which caused them to win not only one game for the championship, but several, year after year. And let me tell you how vital it is that you may have a spiritual life and relationship coach, because that same coach, Phil Jackson, left the Bulls and went straight over to the Lakers, and he did the same thing. Why? Because it wasn't just about who knew how to play the game. It was about the coach who had an eye, who had a keen discernment to know and to see, and took that team to a championship level. Well, what are you saying? Yes, I am that spiritual life coach. I can take you and your marriage to the next level. Why? Because God has gifted me with a spiritual eye. He's gifted me with a spiritual knowing of strategies. He's gifted me with a strong, keen spirit of discernment, that I may be able to use it for his glory and the benefit of man and woman, particularly in our black community, that we may prosper and live according to our original intent for being born on this earth. Okay, you didn't have no choice. You didn't have no say-so about being a woman, and you didn't have no choice or say-so about being black. So here you are. Accept the call and let's go for it. So contact me. Go to my bit.ly, bit.ly/D consultation. Monica, you right there. If you at Ariel, if y'all could type that in for me, because y'all know I talk with my hands, so I can't type at the same time. But there you go. My daughter got my back. You got it, Ariel. She got my back. I would love to spend some time with you for a consultation for free. Okay? Can't beat that. Can't beat it. Just to hear your heart and give you some insight and direction and let you know why you will have the best spiritual life and relationship coach ever. Because you are a champion, and your marriage shall live and go to the next level. Well, that's all I got. Once again, I want to thank you, Ronnie and Lamar, for giving me this opportunity, because kindness will never be taken for granted. And I want to see you all. We're having our prayer retreat on March 31st. So women, I want you to come on, because we're going to find out some kingdom strategies on knowing how to pray effectively for our men. So meet me in Atlanta, March 31st. Register today, bit.ly DW prayer retreat. Come on, one power pack day, just one power pack day. And I promise you, your life will never be the same. Right here at the Courtyard Marriott, Hatfield, Georgia, in Atlanta. All right. Have a great night. See you all. Monica, love you. I'm actually on consecration, but I had to come off just to say hello and do this post, but I'm getting ready to go back. Talk to you later. Bye.